Let's get real here. If you live in the United States, you're probably running into dozens, if not hundreds of restaurants, and you're gonna buy something eventually because either one, you're in a rush, or two, it's the only thing that's around and you really need something to eat. And of course, we've all heard that if you eat fast food too much, you're gonna gain weight. However, what if I told you that you could actually maintain and even lose weight with fast food if you pick the right choices? And I wanna show you what I would get at these 8 popular fast food chains if I wanted to lose weight and still enjoy the foods I love. And if you guys don't know me, my name is Dalton, and I was able to lose 60 pounds by implementing these strategies, and you guys can do the same. So let's start off with one of the most popular places out across America that everyone loves, and that is Chipotle. So for Chipotle, I have a love-hate relationship with this place because it was one of the main reasons why I actually gained weight, but it was because I did not make the right choices, as I'm going to mention in this video. So it just shows how big of a change you can have with eating the right foods. So for me, if I was going to go to Chipotle, what I would get is that I would actually get a bowl and not a burrito, because if you're going to get a burrito, you have already made a fatal mistake, because if you look at the nutrition calculator on Chipotle, you're gonna see that this already makes up a meal for a small child with about 200 or 300 calories. So you don't wanna start off with the burrito. So the two best options that you have at Chipotle is either the salad or the burrito bowl, because if you would actually eat the bowl, it definitely has less calories than the burrito. So I would start off with those options when the person asks you what you want. Then after that, what they have is that you're obviously gonna have your meats. And yes, there are different types of meats, and they're probably gonna have some limited edition stuff that's gonna pop out sooner or later. But generally, the most tried and true one that I've seen that has helped me has been chicken. And chicken is the leanest cut of meat that you're gonna get out of any part there, with the most protein, which allows you to stay fuller longer. And for me, I always go with chicken. Yes, it does have 30 more calories, but it will keep you fuller for longer. And also, by the way, most of the calories in the chicken is just more protein. So I'm not really gonna complain about that unless if it was just like more fat or more unnecessary carbs. Then after that, I generally don't like getting rice because it's just not really filling compared to the beans. So I either just get like more beans or just half and half of the pinto and black. So that makes it way easier. Then you can also get some fajita veggies, which I would recommend. Yes, it does give a little more calories in the actual bowl, but you're gonna feel full because you're gonna have more fiber, and also you could fill up a ton of veggies. So if you really want to, you could actually have no beans and just ask for extra veggies, like tons and tons of veggies. So that'll make it way easier for you. And then what a lot of people also make the big mistake of is jumping in that guac. And yes, I know that guac is tempting. Guac is amazing. I love guac. But if you're trying to not get so many calories in your food, the guac is gonna have to go, my friends. Yes, so you can have it on your maintenance, but on a cut, or you're trying to lose weight, I recommend not having it, because you're already gonna get some decent amount of fats from all the other stuff, especially if you're not gonna have chicken and go with something like the steak. So that is something I would take out. But if you do, it's not gonna kill you. The only thing I have an issue with it is that if you're gonna go in, it's always gonna be inconsistent. And if you guys haven't checked out my ground beef video, I recommend checking that out so you understand a little more what I'm talking about here in terms of when you eat out. But aside from that, you would also get the types of salsa on there because they have tons of salsa, and I would generally go with the mild one or the corn one, because corn also has a lot of fiber in it, doesn't have too many calories. And for the mild salsa, if you choose to get that one, or if you want to get it at all, generally it would end up actually wanting you to eat less because it's a little bit spicy. At least for me, it's a little bit spicy. So I actually don't end up eating everything in the bowl solely because of that. And no, you do not want anything such as like your cheese or your sour cream, because those can rack up a lot of calories fast, and that's not really going to help you that much. And you can get the lettuce. I personally don't see a reason for it if you already have the salad, because it doesn't have like any calories, and honestly, it's really a hit or miss in terms of taste, depending on which Chipotle you go to. So I personally don't really get that. And of course, when you check out, do not get the chips, because the chips will easily rack up hundreds of calories. If you don't believe me, just simply go on Chipotle's website and you'll see how many calories that the stuff has. It is absurd. So right here, if you see, I got all the macros based off all the options I choose, and this will be a game changer for you. It's not even over 500 calories. So trust me, if you get the size of the bowl, you're gonna get so much food. And the irony of not choosing the tortilla and having more of the bowl or the salad is that you're actually gonna get more food, but you're gonna get less calories, which is exactly what you want. So that is the major pick, hands down, every time when I go to Chipotle. Super tasty, super filling, and you're welcome for that. But let's say if you hate Chipotle or just hate Mexican fast food, what is wrong with you? But it's okay, don't worry, I have grace on you, because there's a thing that I like to call Chinese food. And if you've ever heard of Panda Express, then congrats, you actually live in America. But if you don't, dude, there's like literally thousands of locations and you've probably heard it before. But for Panda Express, it is honestly one of the best options out here because one, it's super easy to find, and two, they actually have a lot of healthy stuff and people just kind of miss out on. And for me, when I go to Panda Express, what I'll do is that I will go and get just a bowl, because realistically, you can kind of just have all of these options that I'm about to mention, but in different sizes. So you can either have the bowl or the plate, but I personally just like the bowl because it's already gonna be filling as is. And for this, what I like to do is that obviously they start off with the sides. They're gonna give you the white rice, the brown rice, or the fried rice. I personally don't like any of those because you'll never know how much you're gonna get in the rice, and also especially everything that they cook it in, it's probably gonna be a bunch of extra calories in terms of what they have. But for me, I generally like going with the super greens because obviously bunches of vegetables, and it's gonna be super healthy as compared to just getting fried rice or any of the other sides that they might have in the future. But getting the super greens, obviously you get a lot of volume for very little calories. It's about maybe like 45, 90 calories for the whole thing. So especially if you're just getting a bowl. So once you're done with that, they're gonna ask you what type of entree do you want? And obviously there's going to be like dozens and dozens of entrees for all the foods. And the reason why I go with the grilled chicken teriyaki instead of something else is because it's one of the only entrees I know is just solely that. It's not gonna be anything else. There's not gonna be, let's say for example, beef and broccoli. The broccoli, you already get that from your side. You don't need more of that in that. Just my personal opinion. If you're gonna get an entree, you might as well get the main thing. But that is personally an option I like, but if you don't really care about that, or if you just don't like chicken, then the next best option would be the firecracker shrimp. And obviously you can just keep stacking up both of these and you're gonna get a decent amount of food for a very little amount of calories. So just for this, if you see on this chart right here, you're gonna see so much of how much food you can actually have with very little calories. And obviously, you can't have the fortune cookie. It's not a crime. You're gonna be okay. But if you really are watching it, then by all means, do not have the fortune cookie because, you know, your dietary preferences, I guess. Unless you're vegan, then don't go to Panda Express. Okay, so we got a lot of the big places out of the way, but let's go with something even bigger. And if you've never heard of Starbucks, then I'm sorry, that I don't know what you would consider fast food then. But for these places, such as Starbucks, there is going to be a ton of options, countless options, and obviously a lot of them aren't going to be very healthy. But there is one thing that I actually do like getting at Starbucks, which has a lot of protein with not very many calories, and that is actually the spinach, feta, and egg wrap. And this is a pretty solid option if you want to get something at Starbucks, and especially if it's just food. But there actually is a lot more to Starbucks than just that on the menu. There's a couple different things. There is things such as like the bacon and Gruyere beef. I don't know. It's kind of random, but I'm gonna just call it B&G egg bites. Like B&G egg bites, also really another good option. And there is, I don't know if it's still there, but there is the chicken and hummus box. Last time I was there, it was still there, so you can choose that as a viable option. And some of the other really good options aren't actually even on the menu, and they're just actually on the side when you weigh in line, and then you see all the things with the sparkling water. It's actually, if they do have it, which is beef jerky, is a really decent option because it's gonna be probably cheaper than most of your drinks if that hurts your budget. Then there's going to be things such as like string cheese, so you can actually just rack up on string cheese. It's gonna be pretty decent and it's gonna keep you full. Like, have you ever had like 5 pieces of string cheese? Nah, no one ever does. And then there's also going to be Greek yogurt down there too. And also these things such as the beef jerky, the string cheese, and the Greek yogurt is gonna be dependent on location. Sometimes these places don't have it, so you'll be lucky if you see these spots next to your place. But if you don't, the B&G bites and the wrap, those will also be pretty healthy as well. And if it's kind of a no-brainer, most of your stuff is probably not gonna be healthy in terms of drinks, unless you're just gonna get like basic tea or coffee. But then again, if you're gonna do that, you might as well just make it yourself because it's gonna be way cheaper and maybe even healthier at your own place compared to, you know, fast food like Starbucks. So now that we got most of the modern places out of the way, there's going to be a bunch of different other types of classic joints, such as like McDonald's, there's Carl's Jr., there's Jack in the Box, but Wendy's is by far one of the most common that I've ever seen in the United States. And for this part, they do have a pretty wide array of menus, so what do you really pick? And for me, the most common type of food that I get at Wendy's would be the grilled chicken wrap. And for this is pretty simple. It's just basically a chicken and a sandwich. It's not that complicated. But the one thing I would just do is that I would get rid of the mayonnaise on it because personally, one, I never liked mayonnaise in the first place. Oh, controversial. But it's personally not my style. And also it just cuts back the calories by like a lot. It will take off easily maybe 100 to 200 calories, depending on how much the people actually put it in. And if you really want to go all in and out on this, is that if you want to take the macros of the Wendy's sandwich and actually double it, what you could do is that you can take out the buns for even less calories if you're going to buy two, then you just stack it on top and make yourself a protein style chicken wrap, I guess you could say. And it actually tastes pretty good. It's almost like In-N-Out, which is actually the next place we're gonna go to. And for In-N-Out, let's be real, they've had only 5 options for like the past 50 years. And there's not really too much that you could choose from it. But if you want the healthiest option, what you can do is that you can get obviously a burger, but if you guys don't live in California or at least in Nevada or the West, they have the protein style, which is basically you just have no bun. It's very similar to the Wendy's option that I just mentioned. But except for this, obviously they're not gonna have chicken there, so you're gonna have to go with the meat. And if you really wanna cut back on the calories even more, don't get the cheese, just solely get the meat with the lettuce. Might be a little bit distasteful, so if you wanna put some flavor on that, you could put some mustard or a tiny bit of ketchup if you really want to. Mustard generally has less calories, so you can put that on and it will make it way easier to enjoy. And as you see on the chart here, the macros will start changing pretty quickly if you go from, let's say, adding the buns and just keeping the burger as is, like a regular burger, or you decide to get rid of the buns and then you decide to add another patty inside, or if you add a little bit of cheese. So for me, I'm gonna put the macros just based off the patty and the actual lettuce. So yes, that is pretty basic, but hey, it's a lot better than getting like, you know, a massive 4x4 and just trying to enjoy that. Because oh my God, even if I wasn't trying to lose weight, I still could not eat that thing. And the next place that would actually be just as popular, if not one of the oldest places, would actually be McDonald's. Yes, McDonald's. I freaking love, well, in the days where I would just go and have my 1,500 calorie breakfast when I was 8 years old and then just go in the play place like I did not care. But we are now adults and sadly we cannot deal with that. We have to actually be conscious with what we eat. So if you guys have any options that you want to get from here, normally what I would get is that I would actually like getting the McCrispy, which is a great option. Yes, it is fried, which sounds a little bit weird, but hear me out on this, is that it does not have a lot of sauces on it. It's kind of just the basic thing, and that's pretty good, almost similar to the grilled chicken sandwich at Wendy's. But if you guys don't want chicken, what you could do is that you could either get the quarter pounder and just without the cheese, and actually that would be a decent option, especially if you take off things such as like the bun and the sauces. And also just pro tip guys, if you don't want more calories, just take off the bun. You don't have to eat the bun, just eat the meat and you'll be fine. You're not gonna starve to death. But if you do want something even more basic, then you can actually just get the original hamburger, and that is actually a decent option as is, and you can just put the sauces on the side or not have the sauces. So if you guys want that, here's some of the macros right here. And yeah, it would be way easier for you than, let's say, getting something like a Big Mac, because that has a crazy amount of calories. But one place that is actually way better, and personally one of my favorites, is actually Subway. And Subway, yes, it does have a lot of decent options, unless if you're gonna get like, let's say, a vegetable sandwich, which truth be told, if you get a veggie sandwich at Subway, you're gonna be eating air. It literally tastes like nothing. And I've tried that, I totally regret it. Don't ever want it again. So that's why instead we're going to choose a thing such as the bowls, which are way better and you don't get a ton of bread in them. So for me, what I would do is that I would actually go into Subway and I would end up just getting something with either chicken or turkey. Generally, any of the options are pretty okay. So I have my go-to option on this chart right here. And then I would then just basically put a smack ton of lettuce. Like I just put tons and tons of lettuce in it with all the vegetables possible. Like every single vegetable you put it on. You put the banana peppers, put the bell peppers, put the tomatoes, and you get all of it. And then once you got that done, then there's typically the sauces. And for the sauces, I generally don't like having all of them on top. I like having them on the side, so then I can choose how much I put on. But if you don't really care, generally I like going with the 3 types, which is the buffalo, the red wine vinegar, and then the yellow mustard. Because for those generally are more vinegar based, especially for the last 2. And those generally have less calories in general. So pro tip, if you ever get a certain sauce at a fast food place, the vinegar ones generally have less calories. So aside from that, I think it goes without saying that you shouldn't have a cookie. Just don't have it, Just be healthy. And then after that, you just get to enjoy it and you're gonna have a whole, basically giant salad and it tastes amazing. At least in my opinion, just saying. So give it a shot. And now doing a complete 180 for going from Subway is actually Popeyes. Yes, Popeyes, I would say, is the most controversial in terms of finding a healthy meal because literally everything is fried, but except for this Louisiana chicken place, you're gonna find this pretty much anywhere, especially in the South. So for me, what I personally get here, if I ever had to be here, is I would actually get just the leg meals. And yes, it is way better than getting a sandwich or getting the fish. I don't know why you would get the fish or the chicken place, just don't do it. But I would go with the 2-piece signature leg meal, and I would not really get any sauces on top, always have them on the side. But for the sides themselves, I wouldn't really have anything in that. I would actually just get the tenders or the legs themselves because it's already gonna have a decent amount of calories as is. But that is why I would end up going with something like that at Popeyes. Pretty simple and sweet, nothing else to really say about that. But even at these main places, there's gonna be hundreds of more places that you could probably think of top of your head and say, Dalton, why aren't you gonna have them here? Why aren't you listing them? Because truth be told, that if I kept going, this video would be an hour long, and then also 2, this entire video could change because people change their menus all the time. So that's why I actually ended up making this sheet and the link in the description below, because this will be the most up-to-date thing for almost all the types of fast food places you could think of. And if there's anything you suggest or think that's even better, I actually put a suggestions form in the link so you can actually tell me, hey, Dalton, this is a better option, or this could actually be, you know, more up to date compared to what I currently have. And by all means, I love that because I'm here to help you guys out and we're here to help everyone out. So if you guys want to check it out, make sure you look at the link description below. Also, as a huge disclaimer, just to let you know that obviously there's going to be a lot of things where there's going to be high in sodium, maybe high in saturated fat, but the whole point of this video is not for that, but to help you not overeat at fast food places, because it is so easy to overeat at these places. So these are just tips that help me lose weight. So hopefully they help you lose weight as well. But if you notice, some of the places that I actually choose in terms of meal choices is that they actually have ground beef in them. And ground beef is a great type of food that you would have to lose weight, but it could also be the reason why you gain 10, 20, or 30 pounds and you don't even know why. So if you guys want to understand how to actually use ground beef properly and eat it to lose weight, you can check out this video right here where I go through everything about ground beef, and I'll see you over there in a second.